I'm Anhad Singh Arora from Team 18B, and I'll be talking about outsourced production and its negative consequences. Firstly, I'll be talking about how outsourced production can damage a brand's image. Then, how this method has also cost a lot of people their jobs. And finally, how outsourced production leads to an increase in competition. Outsourcing damages a brand's image. When a worker feels as though his work is not of value or that it's easily sent overseas, he's not secure in his work environment. He feels as though he's easily replaceable, and overall this leads to his satisfaction and productivity being low. Consumers may also lose trust in the brand depending on where the production has been sent to. For example, a lot of plastic toys and cheap plastic items have been made in China. This means that now even companies of higher reputations can lose this trust with their consumers if their products are made in China. A survey conducted in the United States found that 82% of participants were in favor of paying more money in order to buy local, enforcing the idea that local is better and of better quality. Loss of jobs in the domestic market. A lot of jobs that require low levels of skill and that are often very repetitive have been outsourced to countries such as China and India, not only because the workers are paid a fraction of what they would be paid in the US or the UK, but also because the work conditions are not as strict, they're not as enforced, and that's why companies can get away with a lot more in these countries. A prime example would be the Rust Belt. This used to be a very important region in the US, in the Midwest. It used to actually be called the industrial heartbeat of the country. A lot of automobile parts and machinery was manufactured there, but throughout the 20th century, these jobs were slowly being handed out overseas to Japan, to China, to India, where the workers were paid much less and the corporations could make much more for profit. These factories were no longer used and they eventually rust over time, hence the name. Increase in competition. What outsourcing production has mainly done is lower the barrier to entry. Where previously startups would need huge initial investments to not only pay for supplies but also their employees' salary, nowadays labor and material is so readily available overseas and costs so little compared to the local market that almost anyone and everyone can start their company with an initial investment of not even $1,000. Every year, around 300,000 jobs from the US are sent overseas. And the global outsourcing industry was worth $92 billion in 2019, and it's estimated to be worth $114 billion in 2025. This shows that outsourced production is very much alive and it's still on the incline. Thank you very much for listening. Hope this provided an insight into outsourced production, and I'll be open to any questions.